Hi, Sreeshma. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here today and representing the University of Cranfield.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So let's just get into the interview. May I ask you to introduce yourself, like your name, what are you studying, and at which university again?
So my name is Sreeshma. I am doing MSc Strategic Marketing in Cranfield University.
Mhm.
It's been around 6 months that I've been here, and yeah, uh, I come from a marketing background. I come from advertising background, to be more precise.
Mhm.
I've worked for around 7-8 years, and I've freelanced in between, and my profile's a big mix-up of everything.
Mhm.
Before coming into the media and advertising field, I did my engineering. Although don't ask me about engineering, I don't remember anything. Yeah,
When did you graduate?
that's pretty much it. Sorry.
So when did you graduate?
Yeah, I finished engineering. I completed my engineering in 2011.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, and in between, I'd taken a couple of gaps, just to personal reasons. Do time pass, roam around, travel around, sit at home, do nothing. So I've done all that. So yeah, after 10 years, I decided that it's time to pursue masters, because I realized that somewhere during the journey, I realized something more qualification wise, something more was needed,
Okay.
and probably I was missing out on a lot of theoretical jargons when I was working. So that was one of the more important reasons to get into masters.
Because I saw your LinkedIn and you have worked in Ogilvy and like big places and you have freelanced for a couple of years. So
Yeah.
after all of this, you still like what the main reason to learn marketing again was to learn the marketing jargon? Why would you like what is your reason behind pursuing masters after working in the industry and working at so many dream companies for so long?
Yeah, like you say, Ogilvy was and will always be my dream company.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I worked with Ogilvy Bangalore. One of the best work cultures in advertising is in Ogilvy Bangalore.
Right.
Um, but the reason I got into so I have been thinking of doing masters for quite some time. It's been around 6-7 years, but I remember my father saying, "Ek bar, once you start earning money, you just keep pushing about your educational dreams."
Right.
So but again, fortunately or unfortunately, in 2020 I decided to put down my papers. I was with Creative Land Asia, and my health was not that great, so I
Mm-hmm.
decided to put down my papers, and I thought, okay, this is the time where I can actually pursue masters. And somewhere I felt the need to get some qualification, or what do you say, a proper backing,
Mm-hmm.
educational backing, to climb up the ladder,
Right.
because sometimes that is needed in Indian work industry. That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And that I feel, I might be wrong, I feel that was something that was holding me back, whether it was salary correction, or whether it was standing out in the crowd, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever reasons it might be. So that was the main reason that I got into thought of pursuing masters.
Uh-huh.
Work wise, yes. I was blessed to be in a very good team. I got very good work experience from Ogilvy. I worked with FCB. FCB is where I worked on mainline brands like ITC and Wipro. I handled FMCG brands there. Um, Ogilvy was more of a B2B market that I managed. I managed KPMG. I managed, worked with IBM, MIA. Um, it was a good learning, graph, if you look at it,
Right.
because
Definitely.
Ogilvy was my first advertising company, and like I said, it was a great start.
Right. That's
So yeah,
amazing.
just to get a good push in the market, I
So to
think
ask you, like,
education somewhere is
okay, you
needed.
wanted to do your master's in marketing, but like there are so many marketing courses like MSc marketing, there's international marketing. Then why did you choose strategic marketing per se?
I'm pretty clear on what my career path has to be, as in what I want to do in next, say, 5 to 10 years.
Right.
So I want to get into planning,
Mhm.
strategic planning. And maybe somewhere down the line I'll get into consulting as well.
Mhm.
But for strategic planning, I felt marketing and branding was something that I've learned through my work
Mhm.
experience, so that I didn't want to repeat that again. After checking with a lot of students around, whoever's completed their masters, I realized that whatever they teach is almost redundant with whatever work ex I have.
Mhm.
And so I was very specifically looking at strategic marketing because I wanted to get into planning and decide on how to take that forward from. So I've been a client servicing manager, a key account manager. Now I want to move into planning. So that was the reason I picked up this course.
Okay. And why Cranfield out of all of them?
Modules, the kind of modules they have is very, very good. My main decision was big data. They have big data and insights. Um, so I have worked in big data as a advertiser. I wanted to get into it, understand because if I want to get into marketing, strategic market and planning,
Right.
um, you need to understand qualitative, you need to understand quantitative.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the way the modules were described in Cranfield's brochure, and I spoke to a couple of students who have completed their courses, so that actually gave me a good push to get into Cranfield. And ranking wise also it stands at a good position. I think School of Management is fourth right now, and Cranfield is 16th in the world. So I think it was quite good enough. I wanted to get into Warwick, but when I spoke to students who've completed the course there, they also gave me a feedback that it might be redundant because I have these many years of experience, and
Yeah.
also they need a good relevant educational backing. I
Okay.
am an engineer, so I didn't want to risk or stay, be on hold and
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
push. It's a very bad phase to be in. Where Milega, nahi Milega, who wants to get there? So that's why.
So okay, so Cranfield it is, and let's just talk about more about your course in general and how is you're divided. So can you tell me like how many semesters do you have and how many subjects in each semester? How does that work like?
We have around 4 terms.
Okay.
BA is something that starts with the first term itself.
Mhm.
But in the first term, it's more of information on how your thesis would look, or how you have to carry on your surveys, and
Mhm.
basic information about gathering data. Um, we start off with something called SMP, which is strategic market planning, and then consumer behavior, and then it goes on. So right now we are in the second term, and we have already completed customer relationship management.
Right.
And moving on, we'll have retail and omni-channel module, and we have integrated marketing as a module. So they have actually distributed it wisely,
Mhm.
so that BIA being kind of practical as well as theory heavy, they didn't want students to feel the pressure so much. So
Right.
it's very wisely distributed, and you start off with uh, kind of lighter subjects where it's more of understanding and practical. If you have experience, you can practically relate to it.
Right.
So that's an add-on.
Uh-huh.
Having experience is an add-on.
So your last semester is your dissertation, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
final semester dissertation.
So three
And in
like
between,
I don't get it. Like you have 3 semesters and each semester has like 1 or 2 subjects each. And
we
then
have around total of 11 subjects,
oh, okay.
and we have around four each, you can
Four
say.
for each. Okay.
Yeah.
And how does the teaching look like? Is it like more online, offline? Do you go on
Oh,
campus?
we've been offline.
So no
That's
online lectures at all?
no. Master classes have been online uh, because of UK rules. They couldn't have more than 30 students, and our class is quite huge. I mean, we have I think 125 students,
Okay.
if I'm not wrong. So having all of them under one roof would be a big problem. So they've distributed it in 3 or 4 cohorts, depending on how many students you have. And they what they've done is they've, like I said, wisely distributed the classes as well.
Mhm.
And because they prefer having face-to-face classes. It's actually better.
Right.
Although I'm a little lazy, so I would prefer offline. But online, I would prefer online.
Right.
Offline classes have been quite good, because it's good to interact with the lecturer in the class.
Absolutely.
And our students are quite interactive, and the teachers are very approachable.
Mm-hmm.
You can either reach them out on, if you're the shy introvert person, you can reach them out on Teams, and you can just share a Zoom link. Like,
Right.
even if you don't have a particular lecturer's module, and you just have some doubt, you've been doing your part time and you have some doubts and you've been trying to relate it to it, you can
Mm-hmm.
just ping them on Teams and book a time, get on a Zoom call and discuss everything. So they've actually done it really well.
Right.
Coming from a very old school, like I'm around 10 years out of the
Mm-hmm.
studying scenario. There it's like class khatam, teachers are gone. So from that, where you can approach your professor anytime you want,
Right.
it's a very good this thing.
And how many hours of lecture do you have a day? Like, just
Ah,
one lecture a day, or is it like multiple a
it
day?
depends. It depends on the professor.
Mm.
If it's a visiting professor, we might have, say, 4 hours. Um, Sometimes it depends, because we have three streams. They have to manage it according to the professors as well as students' time, and they see to it that we are not mentally overloaded. That's
What
something
is
that they've been
three
very.
streams? You mean the three cohorts?
Three cohorts.
Yeah, yeah.
So we call it streams. So we have three cohorts, and our class is divided into three
Yeah.
divisions right now. So managing three cohorts, and the professor's time, and then university, what do you say, classes availability and all that. Based on that, sometimes we have from around 8:45 to 6:45 in the evening. That's
Oh my
very rare.
God. Long
Yeah,
day.
that's very rare. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But we have good subjects together. It's not that it's theory ka overload.
Mm-hmm.
If it's, say, a JMP, and it can be CRM, which is both CRM is more based on your case studies and all that. So it's very, quite interesting. You don't feel sleepy. That's because this weather is very it's quite sunny. Otherwise, you feel sleepy. So
Absolutely. So tell me
yeah.
about your projects in general. Like, do you have more like Word documents or presentations, or do you have like companies come like live consultancy projects? How does
Mhm.
that work? Or do you like
We
choose your
are
own brand, make
we are
your
yet to we are just done with one live consultancy project, but that was more of a presentation. I mean, sorry, we had a choice of either making a presentation or a white paper. But the other MCP, that the marketing consultancy project, that we are yet to experience that. We haven't come across it yet. Otherwise, it depends. If you want to, students are quite creative, so they either come up with, yeah, a video, or they come up with presentations, or they come up with some other way of presenting their, even the homework is done in a very creative way.
Mhm.
If it's a JMP project, and JMP homework that they have to do, they put it on a presentation, and because of Canva and all that, it's become really creative now. So yeah,
So
it's up to us.
it's up to you. But like for example, at King's, more than creativity, academic research is given much more priority. So how is it in
Mhm.
Calgary? Like, do you feel like it's while doing project, is it more practical, or it should always be backed up by academic research?
Yeah,
How is that?
it's the same. It's the same. If you have some ideas, it's always important to back it up, because what's the proof? How are you going to
Right.
prove that you're going to do it, right? So I feel that's a good way of teaching. You get to I mean, you come across lot of examples, and it's a good way of improvising your own ideas.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
if there's a topic given, and you have something set in your mind, the more research you do, the more you mold your ideas. So I feel that's very important. And it's a common way of teaching in UK, if I'm not wrong. And
Mhm.
yeah, and they're very, very strict with consents and plagiarism and this and that. So that's also in a way preparing you for corporate world. So that's a good way of doing it. We have yeah, academic research is quite important here. Yeah.
So I wanted to know, like before every lecture, like do you need to
Mhm.
study before the lecture? Are you providing reading material? How does that work? Like, or do you just go and attend a lecture and make notes?
Um, Generally, It depends. It depends from module to module.
Mhm.
Certain modules do require you to have a, I mean, even before the module starts, they'll tell us, they'll give us, a couple of days off, and they'll ask us to do a pre-reading session. But not all. It
No.
depends. It depends from module to module. It depends from lecturer to lecturer. Sometimes they just give us, homework to understand whether, whatever you're doing is right and wrong. And that also gives them a chance to analyze how the students are receiving it,
Mhm.
and whether they've understood it or not, and what level they need to come down to. Like JMP, for example, has been a little difficult for students like me, because I don't have stats background.
Mhm.
So we were quite honest with the kind of um, formulas and all that we were trying to understand. And we told our professor that she gave us a quiz kind of thing, where she could analyze whether we understood it or not, and then she came down to our level and taught us how we need to do it.
Right.
So it depends from module to module, basically.
Okay. And talking about like how many Indians do you have in your class? Do you have like a Cosmo crowd, or how does that work?
In class, it's a mix of Indians, and we do have some Brits, not more,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a mix of Indians and Asians.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where are they from. They may be from China or Indonesia, or a lot of Asians, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
including us. Um,
So everybody
but we
very
do have.
approachable, everybody gets along well
Oh
together.
yeah, 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 yeah. So another way of actually teaching is by dividing us into a learning group, and we
Mm-hmm.
have a group where we sit and study, and mingle with people from different backgrounds. Like we have some French. It's a mix of European and Asian, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Very few Brits, but yeah, so this actually gives you a chance to understand different cultures and how to mingle with different cultures. So yeah, that's actually a good way. I was not quite comfortable, not comfortable. I was not quite prepared on how the learning sessions would be.
Mm-hmm.
But once we were explained on how the learning teams would be distributed and what other kinds of people you'll come across, it was quite comfortable scenario.
Right.
Yeah,
And in terms of exams, like as you mentioned, like you have some individual assignments, some group assignments as well. That's what I'm
yeah,
gauging. But
yeah.
you have like exams, and like your overall grade is depend. Like how does that work? Like.
We have very few exams.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it is on assignments. It can be
Okay.
the group or individual.
Mm-hmm.
But exams wise, I think uh, I feel exams are, this is my personal view. I feel exams are useless. Yeah, they, and fortunately, Cranfield doesn't push you on any. So the more important the subject is, it's individual assessment,
Okay.
individual assignment that you have to work on, and group assignment would be formative,
Mhm.
where you try to understand the subject very well in a group, and then you individually pursue it. So I think that is actually a good way of doing it, because exam is a very generic method,
Mhm.
because I don't think we kind of mug up everything for exam. It's majority of it is mugged up. So when it's an assignment, you try to go to the core of it,
Right.
and Cranfield pushes you to understand the basics. So
Mhm.
yeah, we hardly have any exams. It's more of assignments. Yeah.
And in terms of your classmates, what's like the average age group of students?
Ah, average age group would be around 24, 25-ish.
24, 25-ish.
Yeah,
So,
very few students are in my age group, so that's why.
okay, so majority of them are younger.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, like to get into Cranfield, do you think having like a work experience is relevant before, or as a fresher also you can get in?
As a fresher, you can get in. There's no harm, because you'll be in the flow to study, and you'll have that enthusiasm.
Right.
Um, After
So
work access,
getting
it's
admission, is it something in the requirements that, because what I've seen and whoever I've spoken to have at least some kind of experience before. So is it the case like that?
not necessary. If you're see, internships will help you,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt. Internships, if you've interned somewhere before you come, say, couple of months of internships would help you. Uh, the what I've seen is, if you have a work ex, it is easier to understand.
Right.
It doesn't give you any other kind of leverage. It just makes you comfortable in that scenario, and you can relate to your work.
Right.
Otherwise, it might be a little difficult to understand, but it's not impossible. Like I have a couple of classmates who are freshers, and they're doing really well.
Okay.
It like I said, practical knowledge will help you understand better.
Right.
The modules and teachers are smart enough and sweet enough to come down to your level and explain that module at your level. But it's always better to have an experience so that you understand it. You know, oh, yeah, this is what I've done, and this is where I can put it, or this is what I've done wrong, and this is what I shouldn't do. So that is always a leverage.
So I wanted to ask you, because you have worked in marketing and you are aware of these terms, like what is price elasticity, for example, or ATL, BTL, and things like that. But for someone who studies, for example, psychology or something else, and who has no experience in marketing and wants to pursue that degree, do you think they can immediately go join the course and cope up, or do they need to do some pre-studying before joining a marketing course?
Psychology, I don't think they need any experience because marketing and psychology goes hand in hand.
Right.
But if they're coming from some random background, I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. And random might be a very wrong word to use. If they're coming from irrelevant background,
right.
They need not worry. Like I said, I'm sure all the professors are patient enough to explain it to you. And they encourage not doing any pre-reading before you join the university, because the what do you say, the material that they use and the way they teach is good enough.
It's good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough.
If I had to ask you, like before joining this course, if you had studied something before or something you had worked on, or maybe like SPSS, which I had to learn, I thought, is there something you would recommend students to learn while they are studying right now or working right now before they join the course?
There is no harm in learning. You know, I would suggest that if you have time and you're doing nothing, learn. There is no harm in learning, but it's not a compulsion. Like I asked the same question before I came, and I can't stand stats, but I came here before because of that, because I want to learn quantitative and qualitative. And I am not feeling anything. I mean, it's not that I can learn. It's not impossible. The teachers are really, really good. They will make sure that you understand. They will give you enough breaks. Like I'm sure you'll also agree to this. SPSS and JMP are very heavy on your, on your brains, because you have to understand.
I'm not sure what JMP is. We did not have JMP.
JMP is a it's another by SAS. It's a program by SAS. SPSS is more developed. JMP is a I don't know. I'm assuming that it's a primitive stage of SPSS. So you don't have to do pre-readings for it. If you understand stats, it's a add-on. But majority of the students in our class didn't know statistics or what qualitative or what quantitative analysis is. So the professors were very sweet. They would give us breaks to calm ourselves down, and they'll ask us and we were kind of besharam. We would just go and say, no, we didn't understand, repeat it again.
That's good. You have that freedom to go and tell them that you don't understand.
She was. So our professor is Tina. I don't know her surname. It's quite big. It's a Greek surname. So Papadopoulou, that is her surname. So she said, if she would ask, are you with me? Are you with me? And we were besharam. We would say no. Because what's the point lying? It's better to understand from the professor who's good at it rather than sitting and doing it on your own. And you can go on Google, watch YouTube videos and do it. But then if the professor is sweet enough and approachable and she's ready to teach it to you again, why not go ahead with that, right? So we've made her repeat basic things like exploration, I think, a million times. We're like, no, we don't know, because it's better to do it, right? So they're patient enough. All the professors, whichever model you take, they're very sweet to come back and say no if we don't understand.
Tough because you just have 10 weeks to learn the entire new So for us, at least at King's, they gave us we have LinkedIn learning and all of that. So these tools are provided to us to do a bit of self-learning. So do you have such tools as well to help you with that?
So before BIA started, the quantitative part started, we were asked to, we had a session, couple of sessions with a certified session with SAS themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
would, they had given us free enrollment, and we were given extra LinkedIn provision, LinkedIn learning provision, so that we can learn additional, or if you want to learn, stats and all those things, you can learn it via LinkedIn. And a lot of us have been doing so during the Christmas break. Wow, we have random certifications because we were bored, and we just thought, okay, we'll do something out of this.
Right.
So a lot of us have time management, and people who don't have experience, if they want to learn what is time management and all that, they've done those courses as well. So it's a good add-on.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say is your most favorite thing about your university? Like about maybe the campus or like the teaching, anything in general, like your most favorite thing that you would say.
I stay off campus, so I'm
Okay.
most favorite thing, I like how receivable they are. I mean, they are, sorry, they're approachable, not receivable. They're approachable. People in Cranfield, whether it's the staff, teaching, non-teaching staff, even the cafeteria, they're
Mm-hmm.
very approachable. Nobody's coming to bite you. I mean,
Right.
if you have a doubt, if you're lost somewhere, uh, I feel that you can just turn around and just ask for some help. And because we were very new, and we were lost, and after lockdown, coming to a new country, and not having a lot of people to talk to, these are the things that actually make you feel comfortable in a new city. So how approachable are the people there, and uh, how can you roam around, how well is it accessible. So these things actually made me stay here in the village itself. Otherwise, people would plan on moving to Milton Keynes or some other city close by, so
Mm-hmm.
that they can travel back to the university. But a lot of people have actually extended their on campus stay because of this.
Okay. Okay. And your campus is absolutely beautiful. So that's definitely, I've been to Cranfield campus and it was such a nice place.
Yeah,
Um,
it's actually very homely. So yeah, it's very beautiful place.
and what would you say is like your least favorite thing or Cranfield can do better in?
Oh, the buses. And I'm sure even the professors agree to
But
it.
the
There's
one
this
bus is
Uno
it?
bus. Oh yeah, we have this Cranfield Connect Uno bus.
Oh
And
no.
it's not
Yeah.
in Cranfield University's control. So the connectivity is kind of it's not bad, it's just inconsistent.
Right.
It's you cannot completely rely on it, because during weekends they don't the frequency of the buses is quite bad. So
Mhm.
that's the only thing that pushes us out.
Right.
But otherwise it's all people, I mean, students who don't have their own vehicle, they struggle a little.
Mhm.
But I think Indians are all jugadu. They've found out way around that also. They've chipped in money and bought a car or something like that. So
Mhm.
the buses are the only thing that actually gets on our nerves. Yeah.
And are you a part of any societies or clubs to like?
Society. So I am part of couple of them. I wanted to get into consulting club, but I missed out on the date. I've been actually pushing on that also. I've been in touch with the guys who carry on consulting club, but otherwise I'm part of women in leadership.
Mhm.
Um, it was limited to MBAs, but now they've opened it up to other other students as well in School of Management. Um, what else? Now I can't think of. We started a page before we came, but
Yeah.
it's quite on a low scale right now,
Mhm.
because we have been busy with other this thing. But we've been collaborating with careers team,
Mhm.
trying to get the information to the students who have been following, and for the intention was to push it push the information to prospective students, so that we've been keeping up. What else? Yeah, I've been part of media society and all that,
So
but
do you
it's not.
think being part of these societies is helping you like build better connections or helping you
Oh
maybe
yeah,
your
yeah,
career?
yeah.
Yeah. So you do recommend students to join some.
Yes, yes, highly recommended. As in, consulting society is doing really well. They
Mhm.
have weekly case study readings, and working on it, and you get to you get to meet a lot of people and share your knowledge and experience. Women in leadership is doing really well. They just organized, I forgot, it was a session with ESMT Berlin, another university in Rotterdam, and there was the main key speaker was from US. So there was a session last week, and it was about how women can improve their career perspective and all that. So it was actually very, very good. I would
Plus
highly
point
recommend.
with Cranfield right now is like because all of you are postgraduate students and there are no
Mhm.
undergrad, so the
Yeah.
level is also very different. Like at least for Kings, a lot of undergrads take up these roles. So for
Yes.
master
Yes.
students, like very less spots. I think that's a huge benefit you have.
Yeah, that's actually, and it's more focused. You're right. It's more focused towards postgrad students.
Right. And in terms of like your CV building or career wise, I mean, you have worked in the industry for so long, so maybe not that relevant for you right now. But even for like people who are freshers, do you
Uh-huh.
think that the career sales like personally goes out and helps you to like make your
Yeah.
career, CV and reach out to different people? How does that work?
Absolutely, absolutely. So they started that way before we came here. Career
Oh.
building, the careers team is very, very proactive,
Mm-hmm.
and they started reaching out students. I think somewhere in June last year, June for the September intake.
Right.
May June is when we started getting our mails. I was again very late. I was procrastinating that also. Um, but you just have to, they have some certain processes before you can book an appointment with them, and you have to have the proper ATS format, CV ready, and if you have a problem with that, they have I think online consultation for that as well if you're in India or any other country.
Right.
And after that, you can actually book an appointment with them, whether you prefer online, offline. They have once in a week you can they have just walk-in sessions. You can just walk in, talk to the career team, whichever member you want to talk to. Each one of them is specialized in different field,
Right.
but sorry, that shouldn't stop you from meeting either of them. They're very, very focused. They work really hard in getting good companies in the career fair. Ours will start in somewhere in March now,
Mm-hmm.
whereas SATM courses have had a very good career fair from the moment we came in. I think it started off in November, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Very, very good companies.
So has
Basically,
anybody you know been placed already to for a full-time job?
I've come across students who have gotten, I think, interviews, GDs,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not. Uh, I can't think of any current student that has got placed yet, because most of my friends are from School of Management, and School of
Right.
Management fair is going to start in March.
Okay.
But SATM courses, I think they keep getting uh, uh, good technical mechanical companies,
Mm-hmm.
and there are quite many PhD students also here. So
Right.
they also like the career fairs. They come, they build their network. It's a good networking session. I mean,
Right.
they're really working really, really hard for that.
And in terms of accommodation, do you like because you're staying in the village? I don't know what the village is, but is it like the off campus? I don't know what that is. But like, do you recommend students to like stay in Milton Keys or like at the campus? Like, what is better for them in terms of?
This is a good question. So, I would suggest, honestly, I'm saying so Cranfield University is in a place called Cranfield Village,
Mm-hmm.
and and Cranfield has their own airport or whatever you call
Right.
hangar.
Uh-huh.
So we're just on the outskirts of that hangar. You just cross the wall here. There's a common wall. You just cross the wall here, you'll reach Cranfield University. But yeah, it's barbed wire, so that's why we can't climb the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the village, and you there are a lot of students put up here. Um, Off campus
Is
is a
that
good
a case where
suggestion.
you just have one store in the village or something like that? Just one
Uh, we had one co-op which was a
uh-huh.
little far off, but now there are a lot of stores.
Acha, okay.
I mean, there is a big co-op here, and there are around 7, 8 restaurants, out of which I think two are Indian, two are Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
One is a cafe, a
That's
proper British
pretty chill.
cafe. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a post-retirement village. you'll find so the house next to me is a German family,
Mhm.
and after that there's a small road which takes you to a sports car showroom. It's you will find Lamborghinis and Bugattis and all whatnot. I don't know the names also. My husband is quite fascinated by the cars that we see here. So
Mhm.
we saw when we didn't have a car ourselves, we used to wait for the bus, and there would be like all these multi-million-dollar cars roaming around. So it's a
Right.
post-retirement village. It sleeps off by 8:39. The roads are dead. It's not like any other Asian
Mhm.
country, but yeah, you can stay in Milton Keynes. There's you if your focus is a part-time job, then of course you should look at staying in Milton Keynes. Having said that, you can stay in on campus as well. You can
Mhm.
travel. There are buses, or you can, if you're two, three of them together, you can just book a cab and go to say
Right.
Amazon warehouse or whatever, whichever
Mhm.
warehouse you want. Most of the warehouses are either in Bedford or in Milton Keynes.
Okay.
Uh, Depending on what kind of life you're pursuing, as in if you are more of a party animal and you're looking at chilling outside, clubbing, pubbing, then I would suggest that you stay in Milton Keynes or in Bedford, because here there is nothing.
Right.
Um, but if you're more of a house party kind of person, then off campus would help, or on campus also is okay. You have
Right.
shared houses there. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think like after like whatever 6 months you are here studying marketing, you have gained something more than you already knew before in terms of
Yes, of
knowledge?
course, of course,
Hmm.
of course.
Yeah.
Uh, um, like I said, the main reason I came here was for strategic market planning, and that was one of the first modules that I learned. And now that I'm learning BI, which will actually narrow down my career, the pursue that I'm looking at, the path that I'm looking at. This is
Right.
going to actually help me. So I am learning quite a bit.
Hmm.
Uh, but because I have that kind of experience, it might be a little bit here and there. It might be a little redundant. Like key account management was a little bit redundant, not completely, because they thought so. Most of the modules are from brand manager and branding perspective,
Hmm.
marketeer perspective. I come from an advertising background, which is a part of marketing. So
Right. Right.
it was very small part of it, which was repetitive. Otherwise, it was everything was new.
And like for students who are planning to do like marketing, do you recommend them to work for 1 year or two before doing their masters, or do you recommend like, because other than the flow of it, but in terms of knowledge, in terms of everything, do you think having work experience prior is better at getting a job later, or it's nothing like that? Because I have heard that like experience in India doesn't really count in UK. That's what I've heard, but I'm not sure about that. So what?
See, it's a very tricky question. It's a good question. It's just a little tricky. Um, you whatever marketing is something which is very it's an umbrella thing, right? Whichever field you're from, um, end of the day, you yourself are marketing. You are marketing yourself even when you go for an interview. So
Right.
you can look at that also as an example, as an experience.
Mm-hmm.
um, if you have a relevant experience, a relevant field of experience, then I'm sorry, relevant experience in the field, um, it will help you, what do you say, get a platform on understanding better.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
There's nothing other than that. um Anyways, graduate programs are such that any experience under 3 years is counted as same. So you are starting from the base, so there's
Right.
no doubt over there.
Mm-hmm.
Anything people who have between 3 to 5 years of experience are a little safer, or not safer, because then the opportunity narrows down. um, for those who have more than 5 years, it's a complete different ballgame.
Right.
So it depends. If you see as the it's also on you how you put your experience in the interview. If you're saying that I was a store manager, or the category person who fills the shelf,
Mm-hmm.
how are you putting it in the interview is completely on you. And maybe you put it in such a way that that person's the interviewer is he's just impressed with your answer, you'll get the
Right.
job. So I
Hmm.
would suggest, it depends. If you have the leeway or the luxury of getting experience, go for it. If not, if you're focused enough that you want to come finish off your studies and then get into, it's all upon your determination. Yeah, if you're determined to study, finish it off, get it done. If you know that you just need 3 years of experience and then you will go do your job, do your masters, and you're very determined on that, do that. It's up to you.
And if very different question than what I asked earlier, but if not Cranfield, which were the other options were you considering again? Like if you
I got through
universities.
Yeah, I got, so Warwick was out of this thing, out of but I would suggest, if you're looking at a good start, if you're a fresher or you just have 1 or 2 years of experience, Warwick is a good university.
Right.
They will teach you something good. I got through Surrey. I wanted to go to Surrey. Then I got through Lancaster. I hear Lancaster is also really well, doing really well. And then I got Cranfield. Cranfield was my number 2 choice. Number 1 choice. Number 2 was Surrey. What else? Then I got through University of Birmingham. I applied in some 7-8 colleges.
Oh, quite a lot.
Yeah, I applied in quite a bit of it. But University of Birmingham is good. I'm not very sure of Birmingham University. I get confused between those two. I've heard a lot about University of Birmingham also.
Right.
I didn't apply in Manchester, Imperial, King's, but I've heard very good things about Imperial and King's. And
so what was the reason you did not apply to these universities? Because they were like not.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea why I didn't apply. I always wanted to get into Cranfield.
Okay, so that was
I really don't know what was that. Honestly, I don't know what was the reason I didn't apply. I didn't want to. I was very clear that I didn't want to go to Warwick. King's and Imperial, I'm not very sure why I didn't apply. I'm really not sure. Yeah,
that's fine. Now talking about the finances, like of course, because Cranfield is very close to London, but in terms of finances and everything, expenses, everything is very different. So how much, what's like your average monthly spending, or what can students expect?
So the thing is, I stay with my family, but on an average, we spend, and we have a full-fledged kitchen, and we eat ghar ka khana and all that. We don't party outside so much, but we do host a lot of house parties.
Right.
So in that case, with the rent, I would say it comes up to, per head, it comes up to around 750, 800 pounds.
Okay.
And our rent includes electricity, Wi-Fi, gas, everything. Yeah, excluding your clubs, pubs, everything, drinking, and partying and cooking and everything. Yeah, movies.
750, 800 would can students.
Yeah, that's like the highest we can spend.
Okay. And in terms of like part-time jobs, like what I've seen, like when I came to Cranfield, I spoke to a couple of students. Most of them are working. Like what I've seen, at least in King's, like I don't know a single person, or maybe like 1 or 2 who are doing part-time jobs. But I see Cranfield, like everybody is very focused in that sense, working in Amazon warehouses, doing internships. So why is that? Like, how is it so that you guys are getting internships like so easily? Are there people who are coming and giving you internships, or how does that work like?
So finding warehouse jobs, so most of the warehouses are in Milton Keynes or Bedford, like I said. And they keep looking for people because only college students would do it. You don't expect a middle-aged man going and doing it. It's all very physical work that you have to do, and you earn, that's easy money, as in you earn very fast, and I think you get good amount of money as well. I'm not sure how much you earn, but you get good amount of money per hour. It's easier to get that as soon as you land. Once you have your BRP and all that in place, NIN number and all that in place, you can just apply for warehouse jobs via recruiters or someone. there's a recruiter called PMP and quite many recruiters online.
Mhm.
So you can apply via them, or you can go to Facebook and they'll put up on Facebook or LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Warehouse jobs are very easy to get.
But you can
Um,
manage like studying and working together easily.
it depends. I can't speak on behalf of them because, like I said, it's not impossible. You have to understand how to manage your time, and
Mhm.
if you have to miss classes, what is your priority? It
Mhm.
depends on you how you prioritize your work and your class. If
Right.
it's an important class, you miss out on job. If it's not that important class, then
So
they
attendance is
probably.
not very strict at Cranfield.
It's quite strict. I don't know how they manage it. I
Right.
mean, see, in our class, most of them, what they do is, like I said, it's a very rare scenario where you have 8 to 4, 8 to 6 class. Um, Most of the time, it's just 4 hours a day. So they strike a deal in such a way that they work on weekends.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So 16 hours over the weekend, and they're sorted. So
Right.
4 weekends are gone.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's some small time warehouse, then they strike a deal that they'll do it in the weekday night, and 1 weekend is gone. So
Right.
2 days, because you can't work for more than 20 hours, right? So
Right. Makes sense. And do you think like do you have like a disadvantage in that sense not being in London or being in a big city? Or do you feel like because most like what I'm speaking like after I started my YouTube, people are asking me, okay, I got admission at, for example, University of Bath, but I also have admission in Brunel. So Brunel is in London, so maybe I should go for that. So in terms of that, do you feel like staying away from London in terms of opportunities or big brands or whatever, you have that slight disadvantage, or it's chill?
it depends. I don't take it as a disadvantage, but if a person really wants to get into, say, an agency or a relevant market, then it might be. But Milton Keynes is also growing.
Okay.
And from an advertising background, you have McCann office in Milton Keynes,
Mhm.
and you have a lot of mid-level, medium-sized agencies in uh, Milton Keynes. So
Right, right,
you
right.
have good opportunities in Milton Keynes as well.
Okay.
But if you're looking at easy money, then it's a warehouse thing, and that also is there in Bedford and this thing. So it's not a disadvantage as such, but yeah, if you want to see Tower Bridge and all that, then you have to travel quite a bit. So in that case, yes.
So what about you? Like after you graduate, what are you planning? Are you planning to stay there and work in Milton Keynes and things like that? Are you planning to shift to London or go back to India?
No, I definitely want to work outside India for at least 3 to 4 years. So
Okay.
I'm keeping it quite open.
So very
I'm not
mhm.
so adamant on getting a job in the UK, or like, I am open to move to Europe as well. So my intention is to get a good job experience outside India, and then head back to India.
Okay. And
Yeah.
like if you had to give some advice to upcoming students on if
Mhm.
not just in terms of Cranfield, but studying marketing or anything, like what is the best advice you can give upcoming students?
I read a book by I don't know if everyone will know. Piyush Pandey. I read a book. He's written a book about how he became the legend in advertising. So he would write ads out of his experience. He finds stories everywhere. I
Mhm.
would suggest that marketing is also about storytelling and how you sell something and how you persuade someone to buy something.
Right.
Look for experiences and look for stories in everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
Try connecting it. Try to understand the logic behind selling something, or why would you buy something and why would you sell something to someone.
Right.
If you get that essence, you will on your own understand what marketing is.
Right.
And then when someone comes and teaches you something, you will be able to put that in a practical way and connect the dots.
Right. Right. Right.
I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest people understand that marketing is another form of storytelling, and find stories in their day-to-day lives, and
Mm-hmm.
just it's it's a very interesting thing to do in life. I'm sure it's not as difficult as rocket science, so everybody can do it. Everyone is a marketer here,
Right.
and everyone has their own stories.
So have you already started applying for full-time jobs here? Or
Oh yeah, I've started applying and I've been rejected right, left, and center. So
Oh my God. After having so much experience, if
no, so the thing is, because they get to know that you're a student, and you have to give your you have to answer the questions whether we are, ready to work full time. And I got through one agency, but the problem was they wanted a full-time person, and I could work only 20 hours a week. So
I'm talking
that
about full
was,
time, like after you graduate, like for September, like people I know have started applying now.
yeah.
For September. So have you started applying for after
Yeah,
you
yeah, I have. The thing is, all these opportunities on LinkedIn are for immediate vacancies.
Mhm.
So it's always better to start networking and then apply somewhere in, say, May, June, when you're just working on your thesis and dissertation. And right, as of now, it's just testing waters. Just understand what kind of questions they ask, what is the pay that you're going to get, and where is the company, whether you can travel, all those basic questions you understand.
Mhm.
And full-fledged, I started off in December itself, but my idea was to understand what is the value, where do I stand.
Mhm.
So in
That's
that
very good
case,
advice. Like testing waters before you just
yes,
dive. That's
just test waters for now, because you are going to get rejected, like, right, left, and center. So the moment I get a mail, I'll be like, "Ha, unfortunately, is going to come there." So it's
okay.
good to understand where you stand.
But like for me, like for example, I'm a fresher. So like for people like me,
Mhm.
like today, what advice would you give me to get like, because even like for me working with Ogilvy and something like that would be a dream. So in terms of that, what advice would you give me?
I would say, if you're looking at getting into an agency, um, start building a network,
Mm-hmm.
start meeting people, because what I've heard in UK is that if you have a good network, it is easier to get at least the interview. That's what I've heard. I don't know how true it is, but agency, just keep looking for opportunities. If you're looking at getting into a brand manager on the client side,
Mm-hmm.
then apply for graduate programs, right, left, center. Just keep applying. That is the best way to become a brand manager, because then you're sorted for at least 2-3 years, and then you
Correct,
can move after that, and you'll get good experience.
correct, correct.
But if it's an agency you're looking at, LinkedIn, build a network, go on LinkedIn, check for opportunities. They are also looking for junior executives, they're looking for account executives.
Right.
Every organization has their own naming syntax. So
Yeah.
just look at executives and you'll get a good job. They are looking for people, and because of, I don't know, again, fortunately or unfortunately, Brexit is going to help us. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
it's a good thing, and they are in need of people. So it's a fair game now. Everyone is standing at the same entry point. So keep looking. LinkedIn,
I
it will
think
help.
this is these are all of my questions. Do you think I've missed something or something else you would like to share? Have I, which I have not?
Nothing. See, uh, I would just suggest that everyone who is looking at doing a master's in the UK, just be prepared with the weather. It's a
Yeah,
very generic
definitely.
answer. I wasn't, and you
It
will
feels
not
like you
feel
are like in
homesick.
a jet lag. Like literally at 4 o'clock, I used to be so sleepy. I'm like, it's night time now. Let's go to sleep. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was your
yeah, that
time.
is there.
Right.
Take your time. Come, manage your daily routine. Make a routine, actually. Manage a daily routine kind of thing, and follow it for a week, and then you're forced to follow after that.
Mm-hmm.
But you won't feel homesick. There are a lot of Indians here and a lot of Asians here, so you won't feel homesick at all. And cook your own food and eat. Don't eat bahar ka khana so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, middle of the class, your tummy starts growling. So just eat ghar ka khana so you feel better for at least a year, and then you can keep experimenting. But for others, I would say that marketing is a good choice. Once you become a marketer, you can. It's a broad scope. You can change your vertical anytime you want. You can go into a pharmaceutical company. You can go to a food FMCG company. You can go to anything.
Right.
So it's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
And don't worry about experience, whether you have or not. Um, had I been, if I had someone who could guide me in the field of marketing, I would have completed my master's in 2012, 13.
Okay.
But my family is filled with engineers, bankers, and doctors. So I can't ask them about marketing. So that's why it took me around 10 years. And even if you're an older person like me, um, it's not a bad decision. Go for it.
Okay.
Completing your master's at the age of, somewhere in 30s is another kick. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, this was super insightful. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you.
knowledge and everything. I'm going to
Yes.
be adding all your LinkedIn profile in the
Yeah.
description
Yeah.
box
Please do.
below.
Please do.
So anybody who is watching still can definitely reach out to Sreeshma if you have any questions about Cranfield or anything like that. And thank you
Definitely.
so much for being here. For all the viewers, if you like this video, please like, subscribe,
Yes, please
and
do. She's put in a lot of efforts, and I admire her initiative because uh, somewhere when I was young, I wanted to do such things, but I couldn't. So I appreciate your efforts, and anyone who has any questions regarding masters or just want to have a philosophical chat, just ping me. Devyani will put it, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of your initiative, and all the best. If there's anything I can do, I can help you with, do let me know.
yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.